Welcome to the road to 1 million US dollars. Let's get right into the Bitcoin chart for today, starting on this 1 day time frame for Bitcoin. Obviously, over the last 3 days, we saw massive downside. So far, this pullback was about an 11% move in just a matter of days. So in this video, I'm going to start on the higher time frame and then move into smaller and smaller time frames from there. So let's first take a look at this 1 day time frame here. As you can see, we are still in a downtrend on the Bitcoin RSI momentum indicator, not only in a downtrend in the relative short term here, but also in this broader downtrend that we have been in since about the end of November. So you can see that here we had this explosive move to the upside. Then from there, the momentum really started to slow down. And in general, I would say so long as we are below this descending trend line, we should expect Bitcoin to basically either be chopping sideways on this 1 day time frame, of course, or potentially even get that bearish momentum. Now, yes, on the 4-hour time frame or perhaps even lower time frames, of course, it is possible to see pumps, but technically speaking, just objectively speaking, so long as the RSI is in this downtrend, then the momentum for Bitcoin is simply weakening here on that 1 day time frame. If you want to get some kind of bullish confirmation on this 1 day time frame for another potential move to the upside, look for a break of this descending line of resistance. Like I said in yesterday's video as well, if you're going to use something like this as an indication, know that you will not be getting in at the exact bottom of when we actually start reversing. In fact, you will first see a decent move to the upside before we even reach this trend line here. Okay, so that's something to take note of. And I do think potentially it could even coincide with simultaneously as we are breaking the RSI, breaking this descending trend line in the Bitcoin price action. So that's just something that I am keeping an eye on for now. Nothing too much else going on there. However, the 4-hour time frame is actually quite interesting. Notice how we have this low here, and then pretty much on this same white line, we are now already seeing a little bit of a bounce on that same white trend line. Now, yes, Bitcoin is still technically in a downtrend here, or you could even look at this descending trend line from this recent price action. But at the same time, let's say that the Bitcoin price makes a move like this. Well, if we would look back at this later on, we would say, well, clearly this was just a double bottom, and then we resumed to the upside from there. Especially considering that the RSI is very close to actually being in oversold territory. It basically touched the oversold territory right here earlier today. Does that mean that it is impossible for Bitcoin to just roll over once again and get more momentum to the downside? Now, of course, that is a possibility, but I am just noting that if we were to now get a resumption to the upside, people would look back at this and say, oh, this was just very clearly a double bottom on that 4-hour time frame. And to even get a better perspective here, we can even look at the 1-hour time frame for Bitcoin. So first of all, on that 1-hour time frame, we have a confirmed bullish divergence in the charts, typically pointing towards either some choppy sideways price action or potentially some bullish momentum on the 1-hour time frame. And in fact, I do believe that the pattern we are looking at here is a descending broadening wedge. So typically in a broadening wedge, you will see moves that go to the top and the bottom and become more and more volatile over time. And then eventually, of course, this pattern is going to become either like too wide where you're not getting this anymore, or we are going to break either the support or resistance here. However, if we do break out to the upside, there is a price target, which I can just show you with this picture right here. So descending broadening wedge, you can see that we get confirmation if we break out of the top here. And for a breakout, you would look for all the things that we regularly look for on the channel when we're taking a look at the breakout. So you would look for candle closes above the point of the breakout, so above this descending trend line. You would also look for big volume to come into the market as we are breaking out, and potentially you might even get a breakout retest to flip this into a level of support and then resume to the upside from there. So those are 3 points of confluence that you can look for to confirm if this thing is actually breaking out to the upside or not. And in terms of price targets, well, this could be one of them right here at about 95,000. And yes, there is even this price target to the upside sitting at about 97K. Now, just in case you are new to trading, because obviously a lot of new people entered the space here recently, a breakout only confirms after you break out above this descending trend line. So yes, until then, it is completely possible that we just roll over. And yeah, that is just something to take note of. That is how these breakout price targets work. One last thing, because I want to be extra clear in this video today. So let's say that we do break out of this descending broadening wedge. I open up the long position right here. We get a little bit of a move to the upside, but then it starts to roll over and we get confirmed candle closes below the point of the breakout. Well, then this whole pattern is simply invalidated and we will no longer be targeting these prices. And likely at that point, we will have to look for another move to the downside once again after that. So hopefully all of that was clear to you guys. And of course, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below. Next, let's take a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map. You can see that now on this 2-week time frame, we have taken out a bunch of liquidity to the downside here, with earlier today even liquidating another big pocket sitting at about 91.5K. And right now, most of the liquidity on this 2-week time frame is to the upside, sitting at 98.9K, where we have close to $250 million worth of short positions that would get liquidated if the Bitcoin price reaches this level. One more thing to take note of on this Bitcoin liquidation heat map is, for example, on this 3-month time frame, where we do still have a bunch of liquidity to the downside, sitting at around this 90,000 US dollar level. So notice how we are getting some mixed signals here. On the one hand, on this 4-hour time frame, we are potentially putting in a double bottom, while at the same time, Bitcoin is in this downtrend with a lot of liquidity down below. Therefore, to kind of summarize here, if you're going to be trying to long this breakout on the 1-hour time frame that I shared earlier, make sure to manage your risk properly. If, for example, you do get the breakout and it's at that first price target or whatever, like just put your stop loss at your point of the entry. So then even if it invalidates, you don't lose any money on that trade. It simply stops you out at break even. So where you are going to enter depends on what kind of trader you are and how much risk you want to take. If you're going to take it right now, like you open up a position right now before we even break out of this, that will probably be the most risky thing you can possibly do right now. At the same time, if you want to take a little bit less risk, you could wait for a breakout here on that 1-hour time frame, but do realize that if you're going to do this, you're trading against the broader trend on that 4-hour time frame right now. So therefore, yes, that is still a risky thing to do, especially with all of that liquidity down below. And in my personal opinion, the least risky option is actually to just wait for this RSI downtrend to be broken, because I do think if we break this, likely we are going to see resumption to the upside from there and the RSI reaching into overbought territory once again. Lastly, quickly checking back in with the Bitcoin ETF flow tables. Yesterday, we saw a net outflow of close to $600 million worth of Bitcoin being sold by these Bitcoin ETFs. So if these Bitcoin ETFs keep selling hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin every single weekday, then this is going to have a downwards pressuring effect on the Bitcoin price. But as you can see, over the last month or so, there was a little bit of a dip in the total cumulative flow into these Bitcoin ETFs. However, it is pretty much just ranging at this point, and it looks like the Bitcoin ETF investors are also basically just waiting to see what the momentum in the market is going to be next here. Either way, this has been today's market update. Also, yesterday I uploaded a long-term analysis video for Bitcoin. It's over 20 minutes long. I upload some kind of long-term analysis video every couple months or so, if that is something that you are into. But regardless, if you do end up becoming a member or not, thank you for watching once again, and I will see you tomorrow in the next one.